Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As today we have a lot to discuss. A lot of bombshells are dropping left and right. But what you all need to realize is that currently we are witnessing peak SEC and government overreach corruption. The SEC is now apparently planning to claim Ripple stablecoin that isn't even out yet is a security. This is what we've come to, America. Ladies and gentlemen, I've stated America is a third world country wearing a Gucci belt. And time again, under this current administration, we see just that. Guys here, Good Morning Crypto posted a SEC document update showing that the SEC specifically states that Ripple plans to issue a new unregistered crypto asset. And this is peak SEC corruption. Time and time again, all I'm going to say is this. We're at the forefront of witnessing the coordinated dismantling of the crypto space and wealth destruction in Western nations. I've often called myself your narrator through the book of Revelation. And that's because 2024 is the year we're going to see the most volatile moments we've ever seen. Oh guys, 2020 was just a trial run. You're not even ready for the main event. But in regards to crypto specifically, SEC Chair Gary Gensler stated that he thinks Ethereum is a security when asked if an Ethereum ETF is coming. And we're going to go balls deep into the ETH corruption as well, because man, oh man, this could be an atomic bomb that drops on the entire crypto market.
The big question in crypto land right now, is Ethereum a commodity or is Ethereum a security? And therefore, will there one day be an ETF? That's the fundamental question on the table in crypto land. You agree?
Oh, you're the one that's out there asking the questions. All I would say is, to me, the fundamental question is how do we ensure that the American investor is protected? And right now, they're not getting the required or needed disclosures.
So why don't you just answer the motherfucking question, bitch? Why don't you just answer it? Everyone asks you directly as you could imagine, and you always work around it. We don't have the proper disclosures because of you. Do you get it? You're the reason for perpetual poverty in the crypto space, you self-righteous son of a bitch. I just had to say it because it's obvious to everyone.
And the intermediaries in the center of this rather centralized market generally are conflicted and doing things we would never allow the New York Stock Exchange to do. The New York Stock Exchange is not allowed to trade against the investors.
Okay, but let me ask you about this. You've seen the consensus lawsuit, and I know you have a Wells notice with them as well. This is Patrick Henry saying the following, and I want you to respond to it. Just months after a federal judge sanctioned SEC enforcement lawyers for lying in court, new evidence shows that Chair Gary Gensler himself misled Congress. The testimony to the Financial Services Committee last April, Chair Gensler refused to answer questions about the SEC's classification of Ether, and new court filings show this was an intentional attempt to misrepresent the Commission's position.
We speak to Congress directly in hearings like that, and also directly to members, and we share with them accurately what we're doing, so that the viewers can also understand we don't speak about whether we have an investigation or whether we don't have an investigation, and we don't speak about whether somebody is, in our opinion, not following the law unless we actually bring a case. So we stay quiet on many questions that you might ask at this live interview or even
but ultimately, should investors,
a congressional hearing.
There's a lot of folks who bought Ethereum expecting that one day there will be potentially an ETF and that it will be considered a genuine security that's tradable on these exchanges. Will that happen?
Again, that's something in front of our commission right now. We're a 5-member commission, and those filings will take up at the appropriate time.
Is that
Now again, my friends, here we are, members of the XRP community, having gone through now 4 years of a bullshit scam lawsuit from our own US government and through ETHgate. And we are going to be the biggest beneficiaries of all of this Gary Gensler SEC nonsense. Because I remember clearly that there was a document stating that they left the Ethereum designation open to interpretation so that down the road the SEC can come back and sue Ether so they can wipe out the majority of the altcoin market, because of course that's what the SEC wants to do. And the Wolf of Wall Street says it best. If you want to own Bitcoin in the US, the government will want it to be through the form of a BlackRock ETF. They're coming for most altcoins. They're coming for unregulated cryptos. They're coming for freedom-minded tokens. They are coming for self-custody. The government overreach is here. CBDCs and limited crypto access will be the future. This is the future they want, and we have to fight against it. Here, even Ryan Selkis from Masari stated that a second Biden term will lead to mass wealth confiscation and crypto seizures. They aren't baiting and switching in an election year. They're telling you directly they're coming for your property. Ladies and gentlemen, they're trying to surveil you more and more companies are on their way out of America as we speak. Ethereum is under threat, and just say that we warned everyone. The XRP army warned every single person in crypto. And now Ripple is fighting in court for every other altcoin on the planet. And don't get me started about the Trojan horse I believe the BlackRock ETF truly is. But there's not enough people mature enough for that conversation today. Needless to say, I'm going to play you this clip discussing further why the SEC will continue to attack Ether for being a security, because users can only yield by staking. They will go after yield-bearing tokens. The SEC is planning to go after almost every single crypto on the planet. But I think XRP will be exempt from this because they've already won what they wanted. We already have a non-security designation. An unprecedented price action will follow shortly.
Ethereum protocol is a security. Before going into the clear facts of why ETH is a commodity, let me explain what it means to the entire crypto industry. If ETH is considered a security in the court in the USA, it is the blow of death for the entire altcoin market in the USA. SEC claims that ETH is a security because it generates the yield for ETH holders on the chain. SEC's master plan is to attack first ETH, then all the rest, yield-bearing tokens and coins, practically all smart contract platforms. Not even Bitcoin ecosystem will be safe. There are hundreds of smart contract decentralized applications, dApps and layer 2s, under development on Bitcoin protocol. All of them will be attacked by the SEC. As the ETH futures were approved last October, simultaneously the underlying asset ETH was cleared to be a commodity, according to money regulator CFTC. Listen what the chairman of the CFTC, Rustin Behnam, says about Ethereum. Is it a commodity or is it a security?
I've made the argument that Ether is a commodity. It's been listed on CFTC exchanges for quite some time. And for that reason, it creates a very direct jurisdictional hook for us to police, obviously, the derivatives market, but also the underlying market as well. So there's no doubt in my mind, and having known this and been at the commission when Ether futures were listed, that both the exchange and the commission thought very deeply and thoughtfully about what is the product and does it fall within the regime, the commodity regime, or the security regime.
And right here, my friends, this is what it's all about. It's not about whether something gets called a security or a commodity or not. The process is the punishment, as we all know in the XRP space. The process is the punishment which the Ether community will find out. The process is the punishment. Just wait till they come after other exchanges. Just wait until they come after broad brush regulation in crypto. And just wait until they come after Tether. Ladies and gentlemen, it's looking like the former SEC Office of Internet Enforcement, John Reed Stark, is calling for Tether to be audited. And I think they're going to find a lot of nasty shit under the hood. And the reason I'm bringing this up, in case people think I'm a doom and gloomer, which I'm not, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm preparing you all mentally for the systemic risks in the crypto space that are very real, because we just experienced new all-time highs in Bitcoin. I believe we will see new all-time highs for XRP, and some other altcoins will go on a run. But you have to understand the risks in this market. We are still unregulated. We still have this Tether bombshell that they could just rug pull with regulation randomly, just because. And that needs to be in the back of your mind for a major reason for why you need to take maximum profit this time around. Because if you fuck up this bull run, I don't necessarily believe there's going to be another opportunity for you to be able to make it up. Not before AI comes, not before the socialism hits, and not before automation steals your paychecks. Get woke, my friends. We have a small window left.
That brings me to crypto, Mr. Stark. You mentioned in your testimony that crypto has evolved into a killer app for criminals. I don't think you said it's evolved into a killer app for investors. I've got some similar concerns, especially with respect to Tether and some of the reports that, as a stablecoin, it's helping to fund Russia's war machine. The overwhelming majority of the crypto funding that Hamas has used has been through Tether and the Tron network. I wonder if you'd comment on how you would suggest we address Tether, and then specifically how we should think about anti-money laundering provisions and mixers in any stablecoin legislation.
I think you raise a great point about Tether, and you talk about it in the context of audits. You mentioned how important audits are when it comes to any sort of investment. And when you ask the question, would you ever invest in a company that was being audited by an auditor I'd never heard of, or wasn't, or was somehow not a great auditing firm? Of course I wouldn't. And that's exponentially true for Tether. Tether claims to have some sort of audit, but it's essentially a satellite snapshot of its events. What is so hard about auditing Tether that they can't? And this is a critical part of every single crypto investment. And they've been saying for years, we're going to get an audit, but they haven't. What would be so hard? Any of us on this panel could conduct that audit. You're just going to look and see whether the tethers are actually backed by real U.S. Securities of some sort.
So I'm almost out of time, but I just want to flag myself and Mr. Sherman, Mr. Foster, Mr. Cleaver introducing a bill this week specifically to clamp down on mixers and to say that until we've studied and have a good audit trail, the presumption should be that these are money laundering channels. Let's go through, get that cleaned up and fixed it, and hope to get broader support to bring forward.
Guys, I don't know if you all remember that Chris Larson clip I played just a couple days ago talking about how crypto needs to stop playing in the wild, wild west. Well, we're coming to the point where the big boys are going to win, and the big boys are going to bring the hammer down on the bullshit that has been rampant in crypto. And Tether, I'm going to say again, is a racket. You're hearing the government talking about coming after it. Believe them when they're telling you what they think. It's not going to happen today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will happen. And the last thing you want to happen is getting caught with your pants down using Tether as your stablecoin in order to take your crypto profits, and then boom, a UST or Terra Luna like collapse occurs and you're stuck with your pants down and an unbacked racket. That's all I'm gonna say. Invest in your high quality hidden gem cryptos. Invest in high quality fundamental future utility tokens. Invest in tokens that have high developer activity. Invest in XRP and the couple other cryptos we talk about on this channel with high credibility, and you will become the new 1%. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm revealing another hidden gem token that I have just pinpointed that I believe is going to make beautiful ROI this specific cycle, that I think is a mandatory part of your portfolios. And I also added additional recommendations of some high quality coins we've been dollar cost averaging into that, due to the recent pullback, you need to accumulate more of. And that video is on my OnlyFans that you can find at onlyfans.com/thebearablebull. I highly recommend you all subscribe, as everyone in there is getting their free group consulting program session with me. The schedule is about to be posted later today, and I'm highly looking forward to speaking with every single one of you. Now guys, to cap off this video for today, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of hope and a little bit of checks and balances, as I pray that the system is still not completely broken, as Tom Emmer is calling out the SEC, and I hope he holds Gary Gensler accountable. Because the worst thing in America right now is how much wealth has been destroyed and absolutely decimated by our own SEC. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Chairman Gary Gensler's tenure at the SEC has been characterized by regulatory hypocrisy, inconsistency, and incompetence. The Securities and Exchange Commission's Staff Accounting Bulletin 121, commonly known as SAB 121, is just one example of Chair Gensler's egregious attempts to expand the SEC's authority and his clear bias toward the digital asset ecosystem. More than 2 years ago, the SEC disguised this illegal rule as guidance, circumventing Congress and public input so they could prevent banks from safeguarding consumer-owned digital assets. However, this rule isn't just overreaching and illegal, it violates the SEC's statutory mission. First, SAB 121 introduces more unnecessary and avoidable concentration risk into the digital asset ecosystem, making our markets less fair, less orderly, and less efficient. Second, it weakens investor protections by barring Americans from using the established banking infrastructure to custody their digital assets, which leaves Americans' assets more vulnerable if a custodian becomes insolvent. And third, this rule hampers capital formation and global competitiveness, as foreign banks already have the ability to compete in crypto markets while our banks cannot. The SEC's statutory mission is to protect investors, facilitate capital formation, and maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets. Chairman Gensler is violating all three of these with his illegal SAB 121 rule. Later this week, House Republicans, we're going to do our job to provide oversight and accountability to the SEC by passing Congressman Mike Flood's resolution so that this illegal and harmful rule ceases to be in effect. I hope that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle will join us as we work to ensure the digital asset ecosystem can thrive right here in the United States. And I turn it over to our leader, Steve Scalise.